right. As always, that was Colin Gow with our theme song podcast. I am Steve Shoney. I'm the city manager for the city of Upper Arlington. I am here with my sidekick.
I'm Darren Stolman. I'm the city attorney, and I just can I lodge a formal complaint?
No.
I like the new song.
Yeah,
it was like the second Happy Days song.
So, for our listeners who may not remember, for our 50th episode, we had Colin come back in and record new lyrics to his theme song that Darren did via AI.
Yeah, what can go wrong with that?
And I just like the original better. I don't know.
Maybe like every 25 episodes we can have that one come out.
We'll do it as kind of like the city Jersey version of our podcast theme song.
Yes, okay.
It'll come out periodically.
Deal struck.
So we have a guest today, as we always do. I don't know why I said that like that was a new thing. Dr. Christina Murphy, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Christina is, she admitted to us beforehand, and it kind of broke our hearts that she has never listened to the podcast.
Broke our hearts, but did not shock or surprise.
It was not surprising, yet somewhat heartbreaking. So in getting ready for this, I did some deep research.
Oh, no.
Some deep research. And I found that you were an Ohio University grad.
Well, I transferred to OSU, but I was at OU the bulk of the time, yes. Okay.
Where he's going, I think it counts.
Okay.
You spent time in OU.
You spent time
yes.
at Harvard on the Hocking Nirvana of Southern Ohio.
You don't have to agree to any of that.
Which is where I went to school, if you couldn't figure out from that introduction. So, and I read something else that was a profile that after races, you like two things, salty snacks and beer.
Yes.
So we do something on these every time with all of our guests to get to know you a little bit better called Start, Bench, Cut. So I'm going to give you three things. The first one you can have all the time whenever it is your go-to, it is your starter, right? Your second one is you can have on the bench. You can bring it out for special occasions. It can be your version of Darren's alternate version of the podcast theme song. So that's your bench. Cut, it's gone. You can never have it again.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to give you three beers.
By the way, you can't see this, but she just looks so scared.
She looks
like,
very,
where is Steve going with this?
She looks very troubled. She's like, what on earth?
What did I get myself in? This is what you get for not listening.
Cut is when I choose to not ever have it again?
Shut's gone.
You can never have it again.
I can't have it again.
It does not even
cannot.
exist.
Okay.
It is no longer in your repertoire.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you three beers that remind me of Athens.
Okay.
And this is for the purposes of, recovery from running or just life?
Just life. Just as
And
so
I'm going to start it, bench it, or cut it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So first is Jackie O's Mystic Mama, which is their IPA. Jackie O's Raz Wheat, which is another one of their primary ones, or Busch Light.
I'm going to cut Busch Light.
Oh, man.
Okay.
I'm going to bench the wheat.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with the Mystic Mama.
You're going to start the Mystic Mama. Mm-hmm. Now, when you were at OU as a student,
Busch Light
what's on tap?
What's on tap and what's cheap? So it would have been
exactly.
Busch Light.
Busch Light would have won for sure.
So Maggie and I had a conversation as to whether it was Busch Light or Natty Light that should have been.
I thought Natty Light was more of an OU thing, but I didn't attend OU.
I went to OU and
there was Natty Light and then there was Natty Ice. If you really wanted to get
Natty Ice was
that's
was trouble.
That's if you were sophisticated.
No.
Well,
I know you. No, that was like yes, I'd like a.
Depending on where on campus you were living.
Yes,
maybe.
true.
Yeah, if you were going to splurge, you got the ice. Yeah.
Is there I guess there is probably some medicinal purposes with beer and running or something. Is there one of those beers or a type of beer that is better for post-race recovery?
I think it's all pretty toxic. Yeah.
Okay, so this is not like there's no scientific journal that you read that says, the ingredients of Natty is good
I don't believe there to be any health benefits.
Okay, because some people say like chocolate milk is good, right?
Yeah, I think it's the sugar, the carb, and the protein, but I don't care for it.
No, it's just...
Yeah.
So it's not a recovery thing. It's just, I just need a beer. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
The reason we're asking Christina about post-race recovery is you have very recently won your third?
Yes, third.
Columbus Marathon.
Yes.
So that's a pretty big freaking deal.
Thank you. I was excited about it.
If you would have said that the beer actually was scientifically proven with that kind of credentials, stock would go up in the beer. So
Going for a sponsorship.
yeah,
That's exactly where we're. That's I was
trying to help
going-
you out.
Can I
Yeah, no, I'm not
backtrack
trying.
here?
yeah.
Not trying to help her out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help out. Yeah, we were going to send it.
you
We
be
were
our
going to
neighbors?
send it to Jackie O's and be like, "Hey."
Sponsored by
Could you
Jackie
sponsor
O's
us?
in Athens.
Although a long time ago we gave Colin, who did our theme song, runs Colin's Coffee, and we gave him exclusive rights to all revenues that we
Oh, yeah, we
derive
have
from
to give him the
advertising. So we would
beer.
have to give him revenue.
$0.
If they gave us a case of beer, we'd have to give it to Colin.
And this all comes. And Colin is running his coffee shop out of Daily Growler now. So
He's
we're,
set with
we're,
beer.
We're
I
heavy
did
on the
see
beer
that.
today. Yeah. Yeah, it actually works really well for him.
So I just need to probably get this out there for people who are smarter than me, but that's like a big deal to win that race, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm making you brag on
It's-
yourself, but that's not like the community marathon
It's
or something.
the largest race in Columbus.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
I would say.
I don't do any running,
Yeah.
so I'm impressed by that you completed it.
It's
but-
and it's the only marathon, right in Columbus. And it's every fall, and it's super inspiring. They have half marathon along with it. The day before they do a 5K 1 mile. So there's a lot of history with it. I don't know how many years it's been running. I should know that. But I ran it for the first time in 2013, and then I think I've run it 5 times total.
Are you like, have you always been a runner, or did you just pick this up and you just destroy everyone now?
I ran a lot as a little kid for fun. I loved running, and then I did go to OU to run, but had some injuries, so I didn't run through college. And I ran my first marathon at 33. So I always loved it, and I definitely had a genetic predisposition towards it. But I don't think if you would have asked me 20 years ago if I'd be doing marathons, particularly at 44, I would probably say no.
See, this is where Christina and I are very similar, because I ran in high school, and it all ties together here in a second, and ran cross country in high school and loved running, and it ties to beer because I stopped running after I fell down late one night at OU, and my knee has never been the same since. Otherwise, I would be running.
Otherwise, you'd be
injured too.
coming in second in the marathon.
I would have been coming in second to last in the marathon, but yes. Yeah.
Is there like a rival in the Columbus scene who's like either trying to get your crown or you're trying to keep down?
No, I don't
Is there a
think
consistent number 2 where they're like chasing you and they're
Come
so
on,
frustrated?
give
Come on,
us-
No,
talk some smack.
No, I have
Darren's
a
trying to
good
start a
fri-
beef.
Yeah.
No, there's no beef. I have a good friend who's actually quite a bit faster than me, and she's running bigger races. So,
Oh, so she doesn't do this one.
no, she's never done this one. But yeah,
So
Molly.
she can't say for sure she'd beat you. I'm just trying
I
to
think
stoke
it's a pretty sure thing.
just trying to stoke the
It's a-
rivalry
it's a-
here.
It's a pretty sure thing. But there's always somebody, hopefully, younger coming up, and so it's it's good. It's fun to have.
Feel
So-
free to use this
competition.
catchphrase. You can be fast, but there's only one champion. And you're looking at it.
Or feel free not to use that
I'm
catchphrase.
just
It's
impressed.
perfectly fine to discard that.
I'm impressed with people who can complete marathons, but I've never met someone actually
Yeah.
won one, because that means you're faster.
It's
than-
impressive to complete a marathon too, especially if you're out there for a long time. That's a lot harder.
Yeah.
A lot harder.
So what's your favorite course? What's your one that you look forward to every year?
I will only do 1 or 2 marathons a year, and I'm biased towards Columbus because it's home. I've done Indianapolis, and I loved that one. It was a fast course. I like Pittsburgh a lot. They all have something different that's interesting and fun about them.
What's the
Pittsburgh had
most
to be
exotic?
challenging.
Oh,
It was
go
hilly.
ahead.
Oh, boom.
It's very hilly. Yeah.
What's the most exotic place you've done a marathon? Are you one of those people who likes to go to like crazy places to do marathons, or is
No.
Pittsburgh the most exotic place you've done a marathon?
Pittsburgh. Maybe, I don't know. I've not gone any. I haven't raced any out of the country, so
That would be like a lot of traveling. Just
I want to
run.
do Scotland. I want to do Edinburgh. I think that'd be cool.
That would be really.
Yeah.
Do you get like cool medals?
Yeah.
Like with the 5Ks that I've considered maybe, but I never do. Like they give you like
You
a
get a
cool medal.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scotland, though, they probably give you a scotch at the end of it, which would be
Oh,
pretty
it'd
fantastic.
be worth it.
Yeah.
Be worth the flight.
I don't know if it would be. I still don't know if I don't know if it'd be worth the run, to be honest. I have one running story. I think I've told this before, but I was doing a 5K walk run in DC, and I was a little out of shape, and I was going, and I was like, man, I'm doing pretty well. And this guy's walking this pug, and the pug just dusts by me. I was like, oh, he's gonna run out of gas. And then about a kilometer later, pug's like dragging. I was like, see, I can beat a pug. And then I get to the end, and I'm almost at the finish line, and I'll be dang if that pug didn't run right by me and beat me. So I got beat by a pug in a 5K.
So, was there ever another sport besides running, or has it always just been running? Was there ever anything like with a ball or anything?
It's pretty terrible at everything else. That could also be the other reason I landed in running.
That was pretty much the same reason I did too. Yeah.
No hand-eye. No, not a lot of coordination.
You're out. What's your time roughly?
So this one was 2:41:29.
So you're out there for a long time, even when you're the best. So do you listen to music? Do you just chill and think about stuff?
So we're not allowed.
What?
If you're in they call it the elite division. So if you're competing, you've qualified for that field and you're competing for a top finish, you're not allowed to wear earphones or listen to music. Yeah.
Why is that?
Why?
I think they want you to be able to hear everything around you. And it's pretty standard across all of the marathons, yeah.
So what do you do for that 2 hours plus?
It's a lot of time alone with your thoughts.
I mean, are you thinking about stuff you have to do or work? I mean, literally, what are you doing?
Usually I'll be pretty good the first half. I have a rough patch at Columbus every time, like 18, 19, and I start to, go to that place mentally where I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, where are we going to go for lunch?
Where are we going to go for lunch is a great thing to think about for 2 hours straight. Kind of hungry.
And then I've gotten better. I try to regroup a little bit, and yeah.
Did the kids get their chores done? Oh my
Or are the kids going to be mad at me if somebody beats me?
Oh.
Your whole community will look at you as a failure if you don't win.
Failed the family, Mom.
Right.
What are you doing home? Wow.
Do you listen to headphones when you train, or do you
Oh,
try
yeah.
to?
Oh, yeah.
So do you have like a playlist that you want to share that you would recommend for up-and-coming runners?
Oh, it's variable. Listen to some podcasts. Maybe he'll listen to yours now.
If you don't win next year, you can just blame it on training to our podcast.
Yeah.
I got a lot slower for some reason.
Wow, this guy.
Got really caught
Mentally,
up in
I got slower physically and mentally somehow from listening to that.
I'll listen to anything. It doesn't have to be up tempo. I'll
So you don't
listen
need
to
like a
anything.
certain beat or rhythm to
Nah, no.
How did you decide that you were gonna did you know you were gonna win? Like, were you always like gonna be competitive, or did you just kind of do a lot better than you thought you would?
I hoped I would win, but
Did you have a sense that did you know you were fast?
Yeah, I feel like on my best day, I thought I could win, but you don't know who else is going to show up. I wasn't sure who was in the field, and sometimes you don't know what your body's going to do that day, especially at 44.
So then, my last question around this topic, although Steve might have some more, is so I was watching the Olympics a few years ago, and they have a marathon, and like one of the top people in the world, I think she was from Great Britain, she like just had to stop, and it was like with 1 or 2 kilometers left, and I was like, can't you just drag yourself or crawl? Like, have you ever had that sense, and do you know what that's all about? Is there like a dig deep thing, or is there a time when your body's just like, you're done?
I think there could be a time in your body when you're done, when you can't think about anything else but stopping. But I would say I've hit the wall, but I've been maybe kind of irritable and slow at a finish, but it would bother me to not finish.
But
sometimes it's the right choice, though, for sure.
So you don't just run. That's not your entire life. You're not entirely out there.
Correct.
Yeah. You're a chiropractor, right?
Yes.
So, and you guys have a practice South Arlington?
Yeah.
Grandview
So
kinda
my
area?
husband and I have a practice on Chambers Road.
Okay. So was kind of the choice to go into chiropractic medicine something that was related to run? Is there a connection there?
Doesn't it mess up your back so you
how
can
do they
recruit
play-
new people?
Yeah.
How do they play into
Like,
each
I
other?
really heard that race messed me up. Well, here's my car.
Yeah. Well, so the injury that kept me out of running at OU was a knee injury, and I'd had 3 knee surgeries, and I was told I wouldn't run again. And I found a woman who was actually a chiropractor who said she'd take a shot at it, and she worked on me and definitely changed my life, because at that point I would just be happy to run a couple of miles a day. So she helped me tremendously, and after my experiences with her, it felt like a more natural direction for me. It was something I could get excited about doing every day.
So as you're working with your patients, how do you integrate kind of your own experience with the running and the fitness that you do to working with, everyday Joe Schmoes like me and Darren, who
Dudes are still trying to play basketball and they're backwards right now, actually, from today's game.
Darren, who plays I made the decision that after 45, basketball just generally speaking not a good idea. So I play pickleball. Darren refuses to accept. Well, are you over 45?
I am 47 as of Monday, bro.
Oh, that's right.
It's a sad day for
That's
me.
right. It was your
And
birthday.
I immediately got slower in basketball, so I will not be winning any races or basketball games apparently.
Yeah. So how do you bring that kind of knowledge and that experience into working with your patients? How do you do that?
Well, I think understanding that there's always a cause for an injury, and there's certain arthritis, I'm not going to reverse that, but if you can kind of keep everything pretty structurally sound and figuring out what an individual's goals are, if it's really important to somebody to play basketball at 47 or to win at pickleball or run, you want to do what you can to help make that happen. You don't want to say, nope, you can't do that anymore, you know? So figuring out where they're coming from and what they've tried, and if what we do in practice is going to be a good fit, or if we need to find them a different type of practitioner.
Yeah. Cool.
Is there? So I've been to chiropractors before. Luckily, I've been okay for a little bit. But is there new? I don't want to say innovations because that sounds kind of trite. But are there new things in the chiropractic field that someone who hasn't been in a while might know about?
Yeah, we all practice differently. So you could go to 5 different chiropractors all in the same town and get something completely different. So my husband and I both utilize active release techniques. We do a lot of deep muscle work. We take kind of an overall functional view of the body, and we do adjusting when it's indicated, but that not even everybody gets adjusted when they come in. And then I also do dry needling, which is kind of similar to acupuncture. It's a little different.
Oh yeah, is that legit?
Yeah. I love it.
Doing it, but
yeah, I need a
No,
lot.
She's
it's
not going to say no. It's not legit, but
It's
come in
completely
anyway.
not legit, Darren. I just do it.
Yeah.
You charge.
It's legit for me. I don't know about the. So can you talk more about that? Because I've heard people doing that. And they said it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really good. So I'll identify what area I think needs needled by our typical exam, and just kind of palpating the tissue and piecing together what's going on, what's wrong with the patient. It's really great for plantar fasciitis, tennis elbow. I use it on all my own running injuries. But it's acupuncture grade needles, and I'm not treating systemically like an acupuncturist. I'm not going to treat allergies or anxiety or stress. It's very just tissue focused, and you put the needle in and you get a nice natural anti-inflammatory response from your body, and
You're
you can
putting
release
it in
trigger points.
where the pain is, opposed to these. Is this an acupuncture of other zones that kind of?
Yeah.
You're not doing that. You're just going to where.
Right. Yeah. Just where the injury is, or what the area I feel is involved with the injury.
So you mentioned plantar fasciitis and things
Yeah.
What would be good? I'm just really. Well, now I might do it.
Yeah.
But would it be good for a sore back, or is it more of kind of that acute injury sort of thing?
No, it's good for sore back too, especially, again, it's sort of figuring out, is the area that's sore, is it the spine, is it the surrounding musculature, is there a deficiency or tightness above or below that's causing it, a weak core, and then the needle, again, it just gets deeper than our hands can if we're doing deeper muscle work.
Excuse me. I've actually had it done myself. So I've got a good friend who's a chiropractic doctor, Sean Kane, who's just right down the street. And I think, excuse me while I knock my glasses.
Broke his own glasses.
I know.
He's so excited about the
how
needling.
nearly crashed.
No, I like to talk with my hands, and I like to point, and they make fun of me all the time because I'm constantly tapping the table. Although it was you who knocked on the table earlier, just for the record.
You've been doing it the whole time.
Have I?
Yes.
Oh my God. Sorry.
This could be the worst episode ever because of us, not because you're doing
Yeah.
it.
So anyway, Sean has the same kind of approach to it, where it's, and that's one of the things I've enjoyed, because I went and saw a chiropractor as a kid, and it was it's just so we're going to move your back around, and the spine's going to solve everything. And my sense is that the profession has evolved into looking much more at what's happening with the body, what's happening with your movement, how does that impact the soft tissue and everything. And really it's, I'll try this now, it's somewhere in between physical therapy and what you think of as going to a typical orthopedic versus just having somebody come and adjust your spine.
Yeah,
It's
no,
kind
I
of the approach. Is
agree with
fair?
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you shouldn't need it regularly forever. Some people, if they're going to push their bodies constantly at a high level, are going to get much more care. If they've got a serious issue and they're trying to avoid a surgery and they do well with treatment, they might get more. But ideally, you're getting somebody better and kind of back to what they're doing, and then they call you when they need you.
Yeah, so it's cool.
So now you just flex some chiropractor stories. I'm going to flex some chiropractor ignorance. So my last chiropractor, he had this I would be all I couldn't do something, and he would have me do this finger pinch thing, and then he would poke me with a pen and then it would get better. Is that real, or is he just like a magician?
I mean, I don't know.
It seemed weird. He'd be like,
So-
he'd just poke. He had this little like trigger thing.
Were there windows in the office? Or
Yeah, he wasn't actually
Was it
really a
in the basement?
chiropractor. Yeah, it would. He'd be like, "Can you push your fingers together?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, do this," and then it would be stronger. I don't know. It seemed like
Yeah.
magic.
There's so many cool techniques out there. I think most of us gravitate towards the things we've had success with.
So Darren, I'm just going to come along and like poke you.
It was like
all
it
the
was like
time
certain
now?
parts.
Be like,
of,
do you
like,
feel
this-
better? Do you feel better now?
I feel better now. Yeah.
yeah, there you go. All right, now I have an excuse to poke at him.
So did you decide to go to become a chiropractor because of that experience you had as a?
Yes. Yeah.
Did anyone ever try to get you off that path and be like, "Oh, this other kind of stuff is cool. You should do this."
Like
And
other than being a
precisely
chiropractor.
in that voice.
Yeah, like you know, like because it's a doctor, right?
Yeah.
like-
Well, it's a
I mean, it's a
doctor, but
different
there's
kind of
no
school.
like prescription, like medication or anything. I mean, my dad's a medical doctor, and I think at first, before he really knew what I was going to do, he was like, "Oh, chiropractic."
Well, it's kind of
Yeah.
it's kind of weird because like the people who use them swear by them. Like I really
Yeah.
think they're very helpful, but then other people have this kind of stigma to it, like, "Oh, you're just cracking."
Yeah.
backs and stuff, which I don't think, as Steve said, it's not really what it is all the time. Right?
No, and I think there's all just like in every profession, you're gonna have people who are really great and people who aren't, you know.
Yeah.
But
Just
I
like
think as a whole,
just like
you know?
city managers
Yeah.
and lawyers, you're gonna have
And
some who are
podcast
really
hosts.
great, and you're gonna have
Some are not so much.
Stick to your day job. So, yeah, I'm glad they pay you for something else beside the podcast. I had a question and it went straight out of my head.
I take responsibility for that.
Yeah. Help me out.
I mean, are you getting into the big questions or?
No, I'm not
Okay.
getting it. I had something. Oh, I know. Where'd you grow up?
oh, Carroll, Ohio, near like between Canal, Winchester, and Lancaster.
Got it.
Ah.
Are you from that area?
I lived in Wellston for 3
Really?
years. Yeah.
Okay.
And I lived in Athens for under a year. I also lived in Nelsonville for a couple of months.
Did you?
I have an affinity for that area.
Yeah.
I had a therapist in Lancaster.
Yeah.
So,
Did you?
Yeah.
It's like, it's cute, right? And
Yeah.
I haven't been downtown Lancaster in a while, but I know they've done a lot. Like there are a lot of cute restaurants, and I don't know. I mean, I grew up going to the River Valley Mall there, so.
I love
So
it.
how big was the hair when you were going to the River Valley Mall?
Whew. Well, it was bigger than my head, probably. I had to. Yep. There was some Aquanet. There was. I had to pick.
You had a pick.
to tease the bags.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So you had the full like claw bangs that kind of.
Oh yeah.
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 Did you have the perm?
Oh, I had a perm. Yep.
So my wife grew up in Athens, and so it's the whole southeast Ohio.
Yeah.
You know, I'm guessing.
It felt really cool at the time. It felt really good.
I was in Talawanda, which is where Oxford is, the opposite of OU. We also had the perms, but I always thought like, why are people getting these? They don't look that cool, but everyone loved them.
Yeah, I don't know. So did it slow
They-
you down? Did the wind resistance when you were did you do something different with it when you
So
were running in high school?
That
'Cause-
was the perm was not in high school. That was in junior high, and
Okay.
nothing could have made me slower than I already was. So, so it was all good.
I actually had a question about your running.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you run many miles a week. How many miles would that be?
So in a build up for a marathon, 80 to 90.
In a week?
Yeah, in a week.
so you're.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is is that what 5 15-mile days and or how you
How does that
spacing
break
out?
down?
Yeah.
So it's usually 7 days a week, unless I need a day off, and I'll do less on work days. So I'll take my break midday, run, shower at the office, and then finish the day out. And then there's a weekend long run. And then sometimes when I'm training more heavily, I'll have a 25, 30-minute shakeout in the evening once or twice a week.
Okay.
Steve's getting ready to say that's exactly what he did in high school.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly how
I think you guys should train for the full for next year.
I think that would probably get you or Sean some business, but probably not be great.
Dude, how often do they stay late? Like at the end, like can you take like hours and hours and hours?
Well, there's a cutoff. It's like 6.5 hours maybe.
Yeah, there's something like that.
Yeah.
Might be in trouble there. In your pre-survey, you also mentioned you read mystery novels.
Yeah, nothing like that I'd be proud to say, but yeah, I do read.
Go on.
Yeah, well, now it's even making me want to dig into more. So do you have a
Yeah.
favorite author or a character?
No, I'll get on either Goodreads or like what are Reese's recommendations, maybe some of those. And I'm guilty of checking out a book, and my daughter will be like, "Didn't you read that one?" I'm like, "No," and I get like 15 pages, and I'm like, "Wait a minute."
Which is really bad for mysteries because the whole point is like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
the butler did it.
yeah, exactly.
So there's not like a series that you're just trying to run through.
No, my kids are on the last Harry Potter book, but we've been on it for about 2 years, so
Oh wow, because
It's a long book.
we read it in small doses.
So how old are the kids?
12 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 girls.
I've fended off reading Harry Potter. I've been criticized for that before.
Yeah.
But apparently when people read it, they're like usually just done. Like they read it so fast.
Yeah.
So maybe your family's more
I
on
don't
my side of
know.
things. Like
Yeah.
Harry Potter's not always cracked up to be.
Yeah.
No, they're reading all of the Harry Potters. I think they like the Harry Potters. You won't even read any.
No, will not.
You won't watch it.
No, I'm just.
We just talked about this last week.
Ours has turned into sort of like a before bed routine, and now it's more of a like, oh, you got to read, Mom. So if I do 2 lines, then they're like, yeah, that's fine.
We's
So,
good.
yeah, exactly.
We don't
Okay,
need any
maybe
more
they
of
are on
Yeah.
your page.
But they love them. They loved Harry Potter World at Universal, like big fans.
That's awesome. I miss those days. My kids are grown, getting out the house.
Empty nester.
Empty nest.
That's sad. I hear you're ready. I hear when the time comes, it's not as bad as you
Yeah,
think.
no, you're
Steve
ready.
seems okay
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, it's just fine. It's just fine. Although my youngest birthday was yesterday, and this is the first year not having him at home,
Oh.
and then so
Yeah.
I missed my little Nate yesterday because it was his birthday is Halloween, and he's a kid with a big personality, so we used to refer to it wasn't October in our house, it was Nate-tober for the entire month. When
He owned the month.
Yeah, it was his space. So, listen, we also, in addition to doing Start Bench Cut with every guest, we finish up every episode with 2 questions.
Okay.
And you had a little preview. These are the 2 we gave you a preview on.
Oh, okay.
They're not trick questions.
They're not trick questions, no. Unlike the Start Bench Cut, which is intended to be a trick question. What do you love about UA, and what would you change?
I love the community, which I'm sure is a generic answer, but everybody, I just feel like we take our dogs for a walk and our neighbors are all nice and everybody's friendly. And we've gotten to know a lot of people in the community through our practice, which has been just a gift because you run into people outside of work and they feel like friends. Like it's just, it's a really great place to raise a family.
What drew you to UA in the first place? Because you mentioned you didn't grow up here or anything.
It was kind of by chance, honestly. I was renting space. My husband is Canadian, and so he was still in practice in Canada. And
What part of Canada?
Chatham, Ontario.
This dude loves Toronto.
Loves
so-
Toronto.
I lived
Really?
in Toronto for a year, and
That's why we
Toronto's one
gave
of
that
my
reaction.
favorite
So you're half
places.
Canadian.
I consider myself half Canadian. Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, my kids think they're Canadian. They
Oh, yeah.
they love that. Yeah.
Where's Chatham?
It's like an hour northeast of Windsor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Exit. Yeah.
Up close to cottage country kind of area.
It's not that far. It's so if you were
What is cottage country? You're just flexing some.
Like-
He's trying to show
Been
off.
there, you'd know.
Yeah.
It's like it's close to where the moose
Yeah.
are. I know these things because
Yeah.
I'm Steve.
it's like I don't know how to describe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
They have these mapping things.
It's small. It's cute. We lived there. The first year we were married, I was there with him, and then when we decided we wanted to come back to this area, I commuted, and I rented a space in a Pilates studio in the Arena District. And our initial location that we were in together was, you know where Loops is?
Yeah.
Yeah, right next to Loops.
Okay.
And so we found that space and leased that. He came down in 2011, and we started that together, and now we're in Chambers.
So now, how did you meet your Canadian husband? We gotta
In
go-
chiropractic school.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we were in the same class.
And is it like totally awesome to like work together? Is it like, oh man, I'm like,
I love working with him. Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's working out, so you're
It
still doing
is,
it, right?
yeah. We were super good friends all through school, and I don't know. It just feels easy, and it's kind of we know what the other one's day was like, and if you got a tough case, you can kind of bounce it off each other, and it's really nice.
But wait, did we get the story of what brought you here?
Oh, yeah.
We got
no,
distracted
sorry.
by Steve got on to
Yes.
Canada, and he just couldn't
right.
get past Canada.
So we we found that space that was on Northwest and King next to Loops, and then we rented for I think more than 2 years at the quarry. And you're familiar with the quarry.
Yeah.
And then in 2014, we got our house. And I was pregnant with our second daughter. And I was like, we need a house. We got to do this soon. And we found that house. And we just love it there. We love our neighbors. And yeah, I can't imagine leaving.
I'm very familiar with Loops.
Are you?
Great fries.
Such good fries. Yes. The
Mashed
seasoning.
potato fries. They've got like the mashed potato on the inside and they fry it like that. So it's.
I didn't know that about those fries, but they're, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Really good.
what?
That's the style of the fry. There's this, you've had these before.
Just like the big steak fries with the kind of gooey get inside.
Yeah, it's not like a firm potato on the inside,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's mashed potato. They actually pre-mash those fries.
No,
and
I did
shape
not know that
them.
was possible.
I
but
didn't know that either. I knew they were
sounds
special,
amazing.
but
There you
Why
go.
are we not doing this podcast at this place
So
with fries?
well, and Loops is owned by it's owned by some UA guys.
Dude,
oh, they're so nice.
Yeah, so
they're the best.
next guest.
my oldest son played soccer for it must have been 4 or 5 years with Theo. I
Is
can't
that
remember.
Andrew's son?
Yeah, Andrew's
Okay,
son, Theo.
yes.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
We would definitely have a whole podcast episode about these fries you guys are talking about. Are they that good?
You should. Yeah, they're really good.
Very good.
Can you eat like normal stuff, or do you have to always be like, 'cause
No,
you're
I'm not
running?
allowed.
'Cause- well, I'm just saying because you're a champion now. Do you have to like?
You have to live
No,
like a monk.
Yeah.
somebody asked my husband what I ate, and he's like, you shouldn't take advice from her.
She runs
Beer
eight.
and salty food apparently is.
So does he run too?
He could run. He doesn't love running. He's actually golfing right now. He loves to golf. And sometimes you might see him rucking around town. So, with where you wear the weighted backpack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, but do you like when he comes home from golfing today? Will you pull out the medal from the marathon? Like, hey, honey, did you get one of these today?
I'll have a glass cup, so I'll just pour my beer.
Yes.
No.
Will you really pull that flex off? And just like,
So is a trophy like a cup?
Yeah. It's
Oh, you
really
need to be
it's
drinking out of
pretty.
that all the time.
It's big. I could get into trouble.
You need to bring that like here, and just be like, just lay it around wherever you are.
So I will say one of the things that we found, what somebody found soon after I got here, is at some point the city had gotten ceremonial keys to the city made, and they're bottle openers.
Yeah, they are.
Oh.
So whenever we have like a event at my event, like people over to the house where we have a cooler, I'll like make that be the bottle opener that we have tied to the cooler, and people.
The key to the city.
The key to the city is how you open your beers at my house. Yes, that's my little flex about that.
That's a nice flex.
That is pretty
And
nice
it's very
I
good.
like it.
You're Steve's events.
Yeah,
If you don't get invited to Steve's events, you're
Yeah.
not cool in this town.
yeah. This is why Darren knows nothing about
Yeah.
that.
I have not
Maggie's
been
very
invited.
familiar- Maggie knew this story.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what would you change
not know
about
that story.
UA? And it might be not getting invited to Steve's key events, but
I'm not cool enough.
no.
No.
Well, now you are. But
You're too.
Darren still won't be there. Don't worry, I'm not invited.
yeah. So you'll get invited to the annual podcast team or podcast guest.
Darren doesn't.
Oh, wow.
Darren has no idea.
This
about-
sounds
No,
made
that-
up.
It totally made up.
Yeah.
You're part of the
We
secret
should do
society
that.
now that you're in this. So, what would you change?
Oh, that was a tough one. I said I'd put a crosswalk at Mount View and McCoy.
Mount View and why that one?
So, all these scooters?
Oh, you just walked right into. Steve. Steve is like got a few trigger
throwing-
words, and
I did-
scooters is one of them.
Yeah. Well, they're everywhere. And they fly across. And my kids are on bikes. They don't have scooters because
Okay.
I'm mean. But they'll ride their bikes over.
Oh my God, Mom.
They're afraid to go to Thompson because it's just something about that intersection, McCoy and Mount View.
Yeah.
It's the main crossover, I think, from that side of McCoy over
So we've
towards
looked
like
at-
the middle school.
So we've looked at that crosswalk a lot. So
Are you someone who's involved with this?
Steve is the person. Well, not the
No.
person, but he is a good person. to
so
talk to.
it's a shame on multiple levels that Darren's here today, because if he wasn't here, his substitute is Jackie Thiel, who is our assistant city manager, who was our city public service director and city engineer, and she's the one who designed that. So Jackie could give you chapter and verse on why that is the way it is. So I will say,
I believe you. Yeah. I
Wait,
just had
so
to
you're
think of
saying that
something.
if she's mad about this, we can blame Jackie for
this
it?
is no, it's Jackie's fault.
Yes. This is my favorite episode.
I'm getting uncomfortable.
Jackie, if you can kick me off a couple episodes, but it's your fault.
Yeah. So no, that is one that we consistently look at for that may get one of those kind of flashing beacons.
That's what I had in mind.
Okay. Well, good. So we'll see if we could,
Maybe it'll actually happen.
when people come on the podcast, we try and make stuff.
Would this be the first documented podcast?
No, we've done
idea
some other
that
stuff. I can't
actually
remember
got
what.
fixed?
No, there's been other stuff.
Because a lot of them are like really big things. Like I want to have a, peaceful world and stuff. Like that's
Right.
great, but
World
I
peace,
can't. We can't make
Yeah.
that happen. But
Yeah.
we could probably make a crosswalk app.
We can work on that. We can work on it. I think we actually might have
Nice.
some budget and
Wow.
some money in
Nailed
the
it.
budget.
Scooters for everyone?
No.
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 Steve
Oh my
tried to
gosh.
ban them.
I wanted to ban the rental scooters, and now the rental scooter thing has been taken over by kids on scooters. So here's the thing: as you're out talking to, since you are in the parent group that is the core demographic of this whole scooter conversation, the problem that we see is kids forget that they're still subject to traffic laws. Number one. And number two, you shouldn't be riding them through the park. So we are going to, we were just going back and forth about this today, this morning. Next year, we are changing our park rules so that motorized vehicles are, and I'm tapping on the table. I just got myself tapping on the table. Motorized vehicles are not allowed to be used on our park paths. Period. End of story. Unless it's a motorized wheelchair, then
That makes sense.
we're
Like
not
if
gonna
you have
take-
one of
we're
those
not gonna take you
motorized
for that.
bikes, you can ride the bike, but you can't use the motor
Right.
feature. You don't have to.
So we'll try and do that. But it's getting kids to remember that you're on a road with cars or you're on a sidewalk with people, and you can't, if you're on the road, you can't ride in a pack. You can't ride as a
Right.
gaggle of kids taking up the whole road. It's just simply not safe. And so it's a struggle for us because people want us to do something about it, but we can't be
But we do,
everywhere at all
yeah.
times. And, at the end of the day, is it, do you want us ticketing 12-year-olds? Which,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a tough thing to do.
Or you can put in intersections at every street to help people out.
Put in the
Flashing
flashing,
lights
at
everywhere.
every single
the
street.
hawk signals, is I think what they're called. Yeah. No, we're not going to do that.
Not feasible.
Not feasible.
Well,
Her idea I can do. Yours, no.
Yeah, I was just taking hers to the extreme, so now we can do hers.
Yeah.
It's much more reasonable.
We'll work on the guest idea, but not yours.
Well, I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for
Thanks for having me.
bearing with our stupid questions.
I have a lot of catching up to do on podcasts. Yeah.
Do you though?
I mean, this is going to be 57?
I think you said 59. Yeah, that's either somewhere in that.
Somewhere in that range. So yeah, we've got
Well,
a lot.
this is so fun.
The
Thank
good
you.
news is we'll know if you go back and listen to them because we can probably see that there's one more. It's not like it's not going to hit him 1,000 clicks.
So
so.
it's Darren's dad, my wife, a couple other random people. Now we're hoping this is.
No, me.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a new regular listener.
Darren doesn't listen.
I can't listen to my own voice. It's horrible.
hard,
I have,
yeah.
I have a really bad voice for radio.
You just don't like it.
Right.
No, I don't.
We don't like our own voices.
Because you hear yourself when you're talking. You're like, oh, I sound cool. And you hear it's different when you.
That doesn't sound right.
That's not me.
The only time I like my voice is when I've had a cold, and then it
Yeah.
drops like.
It's a little raspy.
And it's like the whole like FM jazz radio voice. It's like, tonight on smooth jazz. I can't even do it. See, I can't do it unless I have
No,
a
that
cold.
was not.
No.
That
when
was
you're-
not
when you're
good.
sick,
No,
you
cut
do
that.
have-
Please cut that.
No.
It's staying in. Actually, that's at the end. Tonight on
She's
Smooth
good.
Jazz.
This is the only power I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. All right.
I have
well,
your next guest though. The Mister. You two can talk Canada.
We could
Oh.
go deep on Canada and
Your extended stay in Toronto.
yeah.
I'm not
He's
familiar.
funny. He's a lot funnier than I am.
Have we had
He's
a
very-
I can't have anybody too
husband and
funny.
wife guest stack before?
Well, we had my wife on. That's probably about as close as we've.
Probably.
Oh, have we had a husband and wife?
I feel like we talked about it, but I don't know if we ever pulled it off.
Was it Frank's wife that you guys were gonna have?
No, it was. We
Someone's
talked
mom.
about having Greg Guy on because we had Lisa Ingram. I don't know.
You might be the first if we actually do this. But I don't know if I can sit here for an hour of him preening over Canada. He loves Canada.
I love me some Canada. I'm not gonna lie. I
Like
like.
we were.
How could you not, though, right?
I have nothing
Yeah.
against Canada, but
Yeah.
it's like he's fanboying over it.
I mean, like Southern Ontario, you go up in the Bruce Peninsula and up in that area.
See,
Yeah.
it started. I think we both had to sit through an entire episode where you talked about Star Trek. So we can do one.
There's been multiple. There's a comic book one. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my favorite.
We
Steve.
just sat through you and Beth, the librarian, and
Yeah, we
Darren are
nerded
both
out.
comic book nerds. And
Really? For life, have you always loved comic books?
Yes, but I didn't. It's kind of one of those things like you're into it, and then you kind of go to college and you're like into other stuff, and then like when you're kind of like working again, and you have disposable income, you're like, oh, that was kind of cool. I can kind of like that stuff again. Plus, they make the movies of the characters that you liked when you were a kid, so you have that nostalgia factor. So I'm not going to claim I was reading comics in, high school and college,
But if you start going back and listening to the old podcast, you will understand how much he is downplaying this obsession right
He
now.
has a room for Legos,
I'm 100% nerd. Don't get me wrong. I own
and his
it.
daughter is not allowed in it.
Yeah,
Are you
that's
worried
true.
she's going to secretly take them apart?
Yes, I 100% am.
He is the dad from the Lego movie.
Yeah, no, she can. I got her own Duplos. She can play with those, but she goes in there. It's bad.
Oh, that's fantastic. What do you do with it when it's all built, though? My kids have so many Lego structures, and I don't want to crush them, but I don't.
So you get a house with an extra room, and you get
Do I need to
closet.
build shelving?
Yes, so you get Closets by Design to build custom built-in shelves along all the walls, and you can display.
Hold up. Whoa. You just totally are going to just drop that you brought in Closets by Design to custom build.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I shouldn't. We don't endorse any particular company, but that's the one that I happen to use, and it's like a full built-in
Yeah.
Florida. There's a
have
little
every-
table in the middle where you can build them.
Disposable income, good for you. You're using it the way you want.
No, because you get that before kids. Like I was dual income, no kids. And I was like, oh, Lego room is what you do. And then I had a kid. I was like, I don't have that anymore.
Right.
Legos are expensive.
They are expensive.
Hence
They're-
why Parker's not allowed in
That's
there.
why I feel
Yes.
bad taking them apart and dumping them in a bin.
Oh no, they stay
so
together forever. Disney Castle, never being touched.
That's an elaborate one.
It took. So I was trying to build that before my daughter was born. I was trying to finish it, and Marcia was building.
She
with
had
me.
no crib to
Yeah,
sleep
nothing.
in when she came home.
And we would
Priorities.
My wife and I would build them together, but then when she got super pregnant, she
It's a
wasn't
liability.
comfortable. Yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
want to be around that. She wasn't comfortable, so I was like, I'm getting this thing done before this baby's born. So I was up all night trying to build this thing by myself. So that was probably the last major one I did.
All the commercials and everything. It's all dads there late at night trying to build the crib, and it's there's Marcia over there trying to build the crib with the big belly, and you're over here doing your Legos.
Oh yeah, I'm useless
Okay.
at building stuff, but there was you should do the Lego Masters. I can't creatively build anything. I can just follow directions.
Follow the directions.
Yeah.
I think that would be really hard to create something like that.
I mean, I could build some stuff, but have you seen that show
to,
Lego
draw
Masters?
plans. No.
I can't do. It's like these. They have challenges build this thing, and they build these creative landscapes with houses, and I can't do any of that stuff. So I can build a box.
Yeah.
So you learned way too much about me, but
That's great.
I
Well,
apologize.
Darren, it was great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, no, seriously, I was that episode got weird at the end. You got one of my
Darren,
trigger
what do you
words.
love? What would you change? Thank you for coming on and putting up with our.
Thank you for having
craziness.
me. This was so fun. Thank you.
Good. All right. Hello, Clarice. Oh, hello, Clarice.